So we'll pick the topic called as automatic receipts. How we can create the receipts and receivables based on the transactions. Yeah. So what are the setups required? You can take example as direct debit. Okay. So direct debit functionality where so as per the like certain intervals will be receiving the payment from customer, or else you may have some terms and conditions with the customer. Every month end customer has to clear all outstanding transaction dues. So you can take any use case, but how that for every transaction, how we get the payment, how that based on the transaction, our receipts can be created in the system will see. To implement automatic receipts, you have to create receipt class and method for automatic. We have seen how to create the transaction receipt class and method for manual receipts. Now we have to create receipt class and method for automatic. So the receipt class and method, what you create, we are going to use for automatic receipts purpose. That means creation method would be automatic. And so which customer is going to make the payments with that specific receipt method, and from which customer bank account we are going to receive the money, those details we have to set at customer level. Okay, that we can assign a receipt method to customer. Along with that, we have to set up the bank account. Set up customer bank account. So when we create receipts automatically based on this setup for our business unit should be listed under internal payees list. Okay, so take the point as add BU in internal payees list. These are the basic setups. Once we are ready with these setups, we'll create few transactions, and we'll see how to generate the receipts automatically. Say generate automatic receipts. We'll go and create the receipt class and method. Search for receipt class and method. Manage receipt classes and methods. So I create Alt INC automatic. We want to create the receipts automatically. Select receipt creation method as automatic, and remittance method set standard, and or else you can say remittance is not required also. Here automatically it will be cleared since it's automatic process. Clearance method by matching, you can accept all those how you require. And how you are going to receive the payment from customer. So we are going to get the payment from customer through bank transfer. Say Alt INC bank transfer. And since it's automatic, we have to set automatic processing options. So when you create the receipt based on the transaction, what number system has to use for receipt? Enable receipt inherit transaction number. By using the transaction number, system has to create a receipt number. Number of receipt rule. How many receipts you want to create? For each invoice, we want to create one rule. Otherwise, customer site wise or how you want to group, you can choose. So I want to create for each invoice one receipt. How you are receiving payment? Through bank account transfer. The maturity date rule, you can say earliest, early days 0. Okay. So the enter number of days before the invoice due date to create that invoice as eligible for receipt. No, like if it is due today, today only it has to generate. If invoice transaction is going to be due tomorrow, we don't want to create any receipts. Exactly, it's due, we create. Now assign this receipt method to our business unit. Remittance bank account details. Click on add. Ignore this message. Select our business unit. Select bank account details. Alt INC. Minimum receipt amount. System is going to create the receipts automatically. So what should be the minimum amount to convert to create the receipts? Minimum $10 amount should be there for any transaction to convert as a receipt. Save and close. Save and close. Done. Now assign the same receipt method to bank customer, as well as we have to set up customer bank account. We'll see. Go to manage customers. Find our customer. Click on account number. And under payment details, add receipt method. Already we created receipt class and method. So select method whatever we created for the automatic receipts. Alt INC bank transfer. If you have multiple methods, one you can set as a primary. If you have only one, the same system will use. If you have multiple, one you can set as a primary, so that would be default. Under payment instruction instruments, go to bank accounts. So already bank account is available in the system related to customer. You can just click on add. If no bank account related to this customer, we have to create. Click on create. So customer bank account is belongs to which country? Select country. Customer bank account number. So bank and branch you have to create before you come to this page. We'll use for Alt INC bank only. So customer also has bank account in the same bank. Account name. Alt INC customer. Provide the details and say save and close. So we are adding customer bank account details. Done. Now save and close. Now we have to replicate the same at site level. How to replicate at site level? Go to site assignments. Under payment details, add the whatever the receipt method we created. Alt IMC bank transfer. Now again we no need to create the bank account. We created the same, you can add. Click on add an existing bank account to this payer. Select. So we added bank account details. Save and close. Done. The one more setup is add our business unit in the internal payees list. Search for internal payees. Manage internal payees. Click on search. You can use this, the pay definition, or else you can create. By referring the same, you can create one more. Open this. Add in this list RVU also. As for EBS, this additional setup is not required. You don't need to add our operating unit in any internal payees list in EBS. In EBS, if you do these two setups enough, but in the Fusion, just they made it as a to AdSense internally the receipts are going to be created automatically to set a control. This process should be applicable for which BUs. Even you are doing these setups, so you have to set for which BU this should work. Okay, we added, say save and close. Done. Now create few transactions to understand how the transaction can be converted as receipts. Go to receivables, billing task, go to task list, create transaction. Select customer. Say complete and review. Now, what are the information we have set at customer site level? The same should be defaulted for every transaction we create with the same customer. We'll go on to review. Go to show more. Select payment tab. Under payment tab, you could see here the receipt method is going to be bank account transfer. It is defaulting, and the payment details, like we are going to get payment from this customer bank account. And let's create one more transaction. Completed, close. Now we have two transactions with this customer. Now we want to create the receipts automatically based on the transactions. Now go to task pan. We are in the transaction billing workbench. Switch to accounts receivable. Accounts receivable task. And go to task pan. Okay, here we have a task called as create automatic receipts. Click on create automatic receipts task. And based on which criteria we are going to create the receipts. Criteria is receipt method. Okay, the bank account transfer related receipt method is associated with how many transactions. Those transactions we want to convert as receipts. Select receipt method as bank transfer. And below you can give the additional criteria also. Invoice selection criteria. You may select from and to date, to due dates, or transaction dates, or transaction numbers, or customer, for which customer. Now, this receipt method is associated to only one customer related transactions only. So we don't need to go with additional criteria. If you want to filter, you can use. Click on submit. Okay. The create automatic receipt batch process has been submitted. Say okay. Here we can filter. Here we have a receipt batch. Accounts receivables. Refresh this page. Now filter to find out only receipt batch which is created for automatic receipts for our business unit. Filter. So you could see batch type is automatic, pending approval. Two transactions. We created 1,000, 2,000, total 3,000. Today's date and select and click on approve. It is only manual action. You cannot enable this process through workflow. It's just manual action which we can perform. Now just wait for a moment. The status will turn into approve. Refresh this page. Now again filter with our BU name. So nothing is pending for approval. Okay. So now you can find the receipts which system created. Go to manage receipts. So you can just give the criteria as a receipt method, alt IMC, bank transfer, and search. There should be two receipts for two transactions. Receipts are created. So these are the two receipts. 1,000 and 2,000. How these receipts are created, you can see system used receipt method as a alt IMC bank transfer, and that receipt created based on which transaction? Based on this transaction. It created means based on transaction only it created, that means it created and applied. Yes. Okay, it created based on the transaction receipt created. So it is creation and application, it will happen on the fly. So this is how just you can set up automatic receipts and you will be able to create. Done.
Lakshman, so if we have a receipt method which has been attached with multiple customers and in the system, say we have a lot of transactions related to those customers. So when we submit this automatic receipts program without any invoice selection criteria, so that means all the receipts would be created, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. You have to go with this like criteria, like you want to run through this for everything, all the customers, everything, or specific. When you go to automatic receipts, here you give the criteria. You want to run it for only one customer. Here you can give your customer.
Okay.
That's how you can limit the action what you are doing.
Okay.
Sir, in this page, we have given maximum number of workers is 4. Is there any?
Sorry, come again. Maximum.
We are giving a detail as maximum number of workers equal to 4.
No, that is a default. That's see when you are submitting anything, that is a default recommended members resource which is system will allocate to run the process, you can increase also so that it will speed up. That's all. Workers, background process related workers.
Okay, so any number of people you can create, right, when creating these receipts?
No. You are not understanding that. That workers in the sense, see, when you submit some program, yes, a job, it will run the process, right?
Right.
So those are the database workers, database system workers,
Okay.
system resource,
Okay.
not
Okay. Understood.
users, not users.
Okay. I thought it was users. Okay.
No,
Understood, sir.
not
Now.
users. It is
Okay.
related to
Okay.
database. Like when you submit the
Okay.
program, like if you have more workers, system resource, the task
Okay.
will be
Okay.
completed as soon as possible. By default, it would be just 4. You can accept it if that will support. Sometimes, if you have experience, you have huge number of transaction whenever you submit this program or any other program. Say even when you run the revenue recognition, also the workers you will see. Okay. So if you
Right.
think
Right.
it is taking too much time, now you have a flexibility. You can increase from the 4 to 10, so that
Okay.
the job will be completed without taking much time.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's all about
Yeah.
database system resource.
Okay. Yeah.
Fine. In payables, we have seen how to perform the reconciliation, or else before that, we'll just look into create accounting. Same, like we can create accounting entries and transfer to general ledger for all the transactions and receipts, whatever we process within the receivables application. So we have two options. One is you can run the create accounting from here, or you can go to schedule processes and you can submit the ESS job. Okay, you just run from here, create accounting, click on create accounting, and we want to run the create accounting for receivables. We are navigating from receivables, automatically system is selecting the relevant program only, create receivables accounting. If you go to ESS job page, you have to select you want to run for which application. And here the parameters also system is defaulting. Okay, in order to change everything, you can accept as it is. Defaults, transfer to general ledger, yes. Post in general ledger, yes. Everything you can accept as it is. And just click on submit. Go to ESS job page to monitor it. Okay, triggered create accounting, create receivables accounting program. The same time it is automatically triggering recognize revenue. If any transactions are available with the revenue schedules, which you have seen, for all those it will create the revenue distributions if applicable. Otherwise, it will trigger, it will recognize. So nothing is available, accordingly it will allow. Just you think this. So meantime, duplicate this page, navigate to journals work area, journals, manage journals, refresh. Import journals. Import journals program succeeded. That means journals imported into GL from receivables. Now another program triggered related to posting. Post journals. It is running. The journals which are imported based on the transactions and receipts, those are being posted. That program status also you can see succeeded. Now we will be able to review the journals which are coming from receivables for transactions and receipts. Check. So here we have all the transactions and the receipt related entries. We can see the category, sales invoice, receipts, and we create a miscellaneous receipt, debit memo, credit memo, chargeback, adjustments. All just, if you want to see which adjustments, you can go to, just click on journal related to adjustments. So 20,000 we have, click on 20,000 and drill through and expand. So these are the details. Okay. Now still if you want to, okay. This is what I want. View journal entry. Okay, this is the entry. And click on transaction details. You can see the transaction related information here. Ledger, any additional information.
So Lakshman, like a basic question here. So is it like one general per transaction, like one-to-one mapping? Is this how it gets created, or will there be some sort of like grouping or something?
Yeah, grouping. We can set the grouping. See how journals by default there is a grouping based on the period. Okay, period. That if you want to set, you can set day base also, date base also. If you go to setup called as subledger accounting options, manage subledger accounting options, find your ledger, go to payables, click on accounting options.
Receivables, right?
Okay. Yeah, any application of payables or receivables, anything is fine. You see
Okay.
here, same every application you can, the same rules are applicable. You see here,
Okay.
general ledger, journal entry, summarization. How journals need to be created in the GL. Okay, you take payables or you take receivables, any application, same setup is applicable. Here you see. By default, it is set to summarize by general ledger period. If anything is coming from payables, subledger to GL, it will be summarized period wise. Okay, it will be summarized within that period. How many invoice transactions and receipts we have? So those will be summarized and it will be submitted to GL. Or else, if you want to have summarization date wise, okay, date wise, you can have a date wise, okay, group by general ledger date, GL date.
So what is the difference between this summarized by period and group by period?
Summarized by
Last two, like summarized by general ledger period and group by general ledger period.
okay. See, summarization here, grouping means it will be grouping whether it has to create. See, you have a same month. Let's take a February month. Okay,
Okay.
you have few transactions. Now, group means it will create separate journals. I have it like separate journals. It will create in the summarized by general ledger means what it will do is it will just create like wherever it is going to create the transaction. Okay, if same accounting entries are available, what it will do is it will be taking into one journal and the same account, it will be summing. It will be summing the balances into only one journal.
Okay, within that period.
Within
Yeah,
that,
okay.
within that, it will be grouping.
Mhm.
Here, grouping means it will create separate based on your rule how it is applicable.
Okay, but still showing up the same account again and again, but
Yeah,
in
again and again it
summarization,
will
it will
show.
sum up.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you set summarize, it won't display like multiple times. It will see like, okay, the same transaction with the same account code combination, it is created 10 times. If you open the
Okay.
journal, within the journal, it will appear only one time. Since
And
period is
will there be an option to drill down to see what all things it has been summed up?
yeah, you can drill through. You can select specific transactions and you can verify.
Okay.
Okay. So that's how, like within the same period, what are the single journal is going to create, you want to have a separate multiple entries, multiple accounting like debits and credits, even account is same, or if account is same, you want to summarize and display.
Mhm.
So here you can set the control. Accordingly, system will create the number of journals within the GL application. Okay,
Okay.
fine.
Sir, one question.
Yeah.
When we create any transaction and let's say we are doing many activities on that, like creating adjustments or applying credit memo, then removing it. So what all activities we did? So for everything, a journal is created, right? For each activity.
No. Activities, it won't create journal, like it will track for our information purpose. Okay. So we created,
Mm-hmm.
transactions, right? We created
Yeah.
many activities. Those all activities, what we are doing, whatever we are doing, some corresponding transaction we are creating. Okay. It won't create any separate accounting. It will just add those amounts so that you can go on to track. So for which activity, how much amount we have, just that is for information. Like ultimately the end transaction we are generating. To take example, we perform the customer refund. For customer refund, system create a transaction, the payables application. But in
Right.
receivable, just we are tracking. And we create a chargeback. Okay. Chargeback, we
Mm-hmm.
have activity, but it won't create any accounting entry for that with that activity. Just it will be tracking when you are perform this activity, how much amount should related to that to track we can use. But whenever you perform the chargeback, for
Mm-hmm.
remaining open item, automatically system create new transaction. That transaction only we can see. Okay. Those
It's
just for
accounting.
tracking. Those just for tracking. And again,
Mhm.
many other activities what we did, mostly those for tracking purpose. And we create one receivable activity for kind of miscellaneous receipts, miscellaneous revenue, right?
Yeah.
For
Right.
that we create a receipt. Okay. So a system
Mhm.
will use that account to create the receipt related accounting in that case. That's how it works.
Okay, so basically, or basically only transaction receipt entries are there. I mean, no other
Yes,
adjustments. Yeah.
transaction receipt entries only will be generated. So if your end
Okay,
result is
okay.
going to be separate new transaction or new receipt,
Then it
then
will generate.
accordingly it will generate. Otherwise, no.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Fine. So this is how we can create accounting and we can interface to GL. Now we'll see the
Lakshman,
reconciliation process. Sorry.
circling back to that general entry summarization option. So let's say it's a big organization and they have a lot of transactions going on in a period. So what actually makes sense to set by GL date or by GL period?
See, I did mostly every organization they'll summarize period wise only. Okay, there is
Period.
no, see, we are not going to analyze how many lines are created, how many number of transactions are created in the receivables. End of the day, we do the reconciliation between receivables and the GL application,
Yeah.
whether the same balances are reflecting in the GL or not. Okay.
Okay.
If you,
Yeah.
otherwise, there will be huge number of lines in one journal with the same
True.
account since so multiple transactions are recorded in the system. We will summarize
Mhm.
by period, like we don't just summarize by, we don't group by period. Okay, we'll summarize. We'll summarize
Okay.
so that you no need to repeat the same account code combination again and again. That's how we can have. It will become big load for system also, right? For example, you are going to open the journal. Okay, it may have like 1,000 and 2,000 lines also, right? Since one period same account code combination instead of 1,000, it can just summarize into only one line.
And I think they can always run reports if they need
Yeah,
to
you can
see
go
some
with
certain things in
yes,
detail.
correct. You can build some custom report if you want to do any sort of analysis or drill down related to the data always.
Okay.
That's how we have. Fine. Now we'll see how to reconcile general ledger with the receivable. Same process. In payable side, what are the process we follow? Same process. We have to set the financial category and we have to run the program and we have to run the report. So let's copy those points. Okay, first we have to set the financial category for AR control account. AR control account is nothing but accounts receivable account. And payables, like liability account is the control account. And receivables, accounts receivable account is control account. Then we have to run the prepare receivables to general ledger reconciliation. And run the report which are related to receivables. Go to value set. So we have accounts in the value set called as account alt INC. Go to manage values. And within the receivables, we used account called as accounts receivable account. First one, accounts receivable. Set financial category as a receivables. Set financial category receivables. And say save and close. If you don't set financial category receivables, when you run this program, it won't fetch the balances. It will have a validation for which accounts, whatever the account we are selecting as a parameter in this program, that account is already tagged with the financial category or not, it will check. So it's mandatory how to set. Now we are going to run the program. Go to ESS job page, tools, scheduled processes. Click on schedule new process. So search with the term called as reconciliation. Okay, here is the program. Prepare receivables to general ledger reconciliation. Say OK. Click on OK. Set parameters. Request name. Web reconciliation. And optionally, you can select BU. Accounting period is current period. let's select for which period you want to, which account you want to perform this reconciliation. Search for accounts receivable account. Say okay. Now submit. Refresh. Just check the master job status also, whatever we submit. Still running. The child jobs completed. Just refresh. Select hierarchy. And now you could see completed. Now run the report. So go to accounts receivable task. Go to task pan. So under accounting, here is the task. Receivables to ledger reconciliation. Click on this task, it will act as a report. It takes some time. What are the data collected by submitting a previous program, that it will bring as a results in the form of report. Now here is the request name, whatever we taken. At the time of running the program, we given the name as Feb 24 reconciliation. The same you could see here. If you scroll little down, you can find what is the difference between your receivables and general ledger information. We created accounting entries and transfer. Those are here. Here you can see the details. Here also you have the details. And only system is showing the information. There are few unapplied receipts. Okay, there are few unapplied receipts. Yes, unapplied receipts could be nothing wrong with that. So you may apply later. So or else if certain days you can go back and check still any transactions are lying with that customer. If you want to apply, or else that is fine. So that's how you can take the action if required. If you take any action, so now there are no issues related to no accounting is performed or not transferred to GL, such kind of entries we don't have. If you have, like, you can go and fix those and again run this program by giving the new name, new request name, and run the report. Unapplied, that is quite common, you come across. Always there could be some amounts which are not yet applied. Anyway, you can just as a business user, you'll cross check if any possibility will apply, otherwise those will be lying as this. Later you may apply. So that is the point we have to understand. And another topic here is closing the receivables periods.
Lakshman, regarding the first step where we set up the financial category for AR
Yes.
control accounts. So usually like we have 2-3 control accounts, liability and all. So so like whatever we did, we have gone to the chart of account value sets. We have selected the manage
Now
value
tell me, what is
description
your
as
question?
So
Direct question.
usually, like in reality, do we also assign the same description for all those accounts and just give financial category for one of the value, or do we have to go for every different value for different account?
No. See, if you have a multiple receivables accounts, you can assign and that range you can select. That's all. Okay.
Okay. So for
Only
that range, that category can be selected.
yes. So you can you have a, like, say 4 receivables accounts. For 4 receivables account, you go and set the financial category as receivables. Then when you are running this second step, when you are running the job, select the same accounts. As a range you can select, or you can select one by one. The same application
Okay.
for payables liability account also.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Fine.
Sir, we in that same page we there is a reconcile option which was set as no, but system has still allowed us to do a
No,
reconciliation.
that's a different story. This reconciliation is different, that reconciliation is different. Okay. So that reconciliation we use for clearing accounts. See,
Okay.
take a simple example. You have a like, what is the accounting entry when you make the payment?
When you make the payment,
Yeah.
I mean, you're saying from your side, right? We are receiving a
Your
payment.
side or my side, any side. You are making payment.
It's supplier to cash.
As per our system, whatever we discussed.
Uh, it's received.
Okay, no issues.
Mhm.
So this is accounting entry, right?
Right, right.
Now, for this cash clearing account, you can set
Mhm.
that flag reconcile as yes.
Mhm.
The GL, we have one option. You select this account and run the reconciliation. Okay,
Okay.
you run the reconciliation. When you run the reconciliation, it will show, say with this, you have a 1,000 balances. 1,000. In the reconciliation for this clearing account, it will show difference as 1,000. What does it mean difference as 1,000? That means the
Mhm.
clearing account is not cleared, still it is pending.
Mhm.
When it would be cleared? Completed AP, right? When it would be clear?
When payment is made.
When you do the reconciliation, you see that accounting entries. I'm just asking whatever we did. This is for payment, this is for reconciliation. When you reconcile, the cash clearing account would be credited, right? Debited, and cash would be credited. Now it will get knocked off. Yeah. Now this is situation. Current situation is only you paid, but not reconciled. In GL, okay, GL, if you run the reconciliation program, it will show difference as 100. That means something is lying in the cash clearing account. $1,000 are lying. When that will be cleared,
Mhm.
you perform the
After
reconciliation.
Mhm.
Now cash clearing would be debited,
Cash account would be
would be
credited.
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 1,000.
So normally, for which all accounts we run reconciliation? Is it like
Clearing
one
accounts.
the
Clearing accounts.
okay? So one is the like AR and AP accounts, basically control accounts. Second is the clearing
No,
accounts.
clearing
These two.
accounts. So see, clearing accounts means which are temporary accounts. It will hold the balances.
Mm.
You take here, this is a clearing account, cash clearing account.
Right.
Even you see the name in that account also as a clearing. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
And when we deal with the fixed assets, we will come across another asset clearing account. Okay, these kind of accounts. Now see, you perform the reconciliation. This is the accounting entry. Okay. Now if you run the reconciliation, how much variance you see?
Zero.
0. That's it. If you
Okay.
get some balances here, what is the meaning of it?
That.
Okay, you paid, but it's a pending from us. So that means if you get $10,000 reconciliation difference, you have to keep funds ready, that 10,000,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
So this purpose you use that field whatever we have seen.
Flag. Okay.
This reconciliation is different. This between Subledger and GL. It could be AP and GL or AR and GL. Okay,
Mhm.
we do that.
Okay, so
Lakshman,
for clearing account we use it, otherwise not required here. Okay, yes, so, yeah.
Yeah, please.
Lakshman, we have added that financial category for account receivable account, right?
Correct.
The account receivable account which we used for in the receivable account as per transaction and receipts, right?
Exactly. That only we have to use. Otherwise, you select and run, nothing you will get.
Yeah, got it, Lakshman. Thank you.
Yeah, with which account we have a transactions, that account related transaction balances we want to reconcile between AR and GL. That's all.
That is a receivable account, not revenue, right?
Not revenue account. Revenue
Yes, it's a
account,
receivable.
receivables
Yeah.
account.
Okay, then.
Yeah. Fine. Okay. Then another point is closing receivables period. So payables we have seen. Okay. So receivables, there won't be any much difficulty. Like you can run that pre-close exception report and it will show the exceptions. Before that, you try to close. Mostly there won't be big challenges when you close the receivables period. So already we created accounting, we transfer to general ledger, everything we did. And we have other flexibility for receivables. Okay. So in case of payables, if you are if you have some exceptions, you can sweep to next period and you can close. But in receivables point of view, there is no sweep option. If anything wrong, you don't have any sweep option. But if you want to close the receivables period, you cannot close. Oracle give an option to keep the status as a pending close. If you keep the status as a pending close, no transactions can be recorded within that period. We'll go and see. Go to manage accounting periods. And click on ledger. Okay. So here is our ledger. Feb. Okay, click on close period. Yep. Refresh. Just let's wait for a moment. We'll check the status. It takes time. So refresh. The status is closed. So if you have any transactions you are not able to close, then you can mark the status as a close pending. Later you may fix those issues. If you have any issues, then you will be able to close that period as required. Okay. Here also you can run the period close exception. Receivables point of view, it would be smooth on the payables. You come across with exceptions. Period close. Okay. Subledger period close exception report. Subledger period close exception report. Journal source is receivables. Category and all, we don't need anything. Accounting period is Feb to Feb. Submit. This is how you can submit and view any exceptions.
Is there a limit like for how long we can keep the period as close pending?
How long?
Yeah, like for how long we can keep that status?
It's internal decision, right? It is you are setting like pending close pending. You are just keeping it temporary purpose since you are not able to close.
Like, will system will stop for us to do any transactions if we are keeping it closed
Yeah,
pending?
that is a
And
purpose.
therefore, next.
If you set close pending, it won't allow you to record the transactions. Okay.
For the next period.
Same period. Next period
Same
anyway, you
period.
will allow because you have to open. You may close, may not close. That is secondary. Now you are entering into next period, right? You should be able to enter the transactions. The status is applicable for which period you are setting. Yeah.
Okay.
Sir, if we have reconciled, all the reconciliation is, and there is no difference, then ideally in this report we should not get anything, no?
Sorry?
If we have done if the reconciliation we have done and the reconciliation difference is 0, so there should not be anything here then, right?
Yeah, ideally there you don't have reconciliation issues means ideally you don't get anything here.
Okay.
So no exceptions. We are able to close there itself. We are clear, but just to understand how to run the report we are running. So we are able to close the period means there are no exceptions. So this is how you can run. In case of payables, we have seen separate name they given. For receivables point of it's very generic name. Subledger period close exception report. You have to select the just parameter as for which application. Journal source.
But still we have unapplied receipts, right? Lakshman?
Unapplied, see, unapplied just it's a very common thing. Like always we'll have certain unapplied receipts. If you want to apply today or else you apply later. That is
That's
not an
not
issue.
an issue to close the period.
No, that won't create an issue.
Okay.
So unapplied receipts, but your accounting, right? If those are left without accounting and all, yes, that system will consider.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Lakshman, we can run this report before period close also, right? This
Anytime you can run, yes, anytime. Just ideally we run this report before closing only. Before first we'll check any exceptions. We'll try to close.
Yeah.
If no exceptions, yes, then we can you can take as a good to go and you will close it. We closed, but nothing stopped. But still, we want to see how the report would be. That is the reason we submitted. This always will run before closing. Once closed by running exceptions, what you get? Nothing. When you close, you'll get a confirmation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that's how it is. So reconciliation under period close. So the next application we are going to pick is assets. After assets, we'll see the cash management, then finally we'll go to GL. So these are the few basic setups we have to complete related to fixed assets. And the difference between GL key flex field and asset related key flex fields. Okay, we have a accounting key flex field. By using accounting key flex field, you can create a number of chart of accounts and structures. Similar to accounting key flex field, in fixed assets, we have 3 key flex fields. In fixed assets, we have 3 key flex fields. One is category, key flex field, location, key flex field, asset key, key flex field. So these are the 3 key flex fields. Why we are using the accounting key flex field? To create the chart of accounts. So the chart of accounts, what we are doing, we are predefining the data. We are listing out all our companies, departments, accounts, and other data. Okay, we are going to predefine. One time you are going to create, every time we are going to reuse. In the same way, in fixed assets related to asset, there are certain data which you have to predefine so that you can reuse in wherever it is required. Those details like categories, location, and asset key. So what does it mean by asset category? Asset category is nothing but classification of asset. Okay, classification of assets. Say you are running the business, you have a many fixed assets. So you have to classify. You should not club all those as assets. You have to classify. How you can classify? Buildings, okay, land, furniture, vehicles, machinery, plant. So this is how you have to classify. For the classification purpose, we use category key flex field. So typically in the category key flex field, we use two segments. One is major category segment. Other one is minor category. When you talk about accounting key flex field, we create the chart of accounts. Up to 30 segments we can create. Here, max you can create 7 segments. In category key flex field, max we can create 7 segments. Very general, we use 2 segments, major category and minor category. So what is the difference between these two? If you take major category as building, what are the different type of buildings we have? Those we can call as a minor category. Say major category name is building. Minor category name is residential building and commercial buildings and other buildings. If you take major category as vehicles, minor categories, two-wheeler, three-wheeler, four-wheeler, or else again heavy vehicles. That's how you can take. If you take major category as a furniture, minor category could be tables, chairs, benches. That's how you can have. What is the exact asset that you will create as asset? Before that, you want to classify properly. So for this reason, we use the category key flex. With the category key flex field, you can classify the asset information you can maintain as a major and minor. With the location key flex field, you can maintain all the asset locations in the system. Or else whenever you create asset, you can track that asset with the location. Okay. When you create asset in the system, for every asset, we have to give the location. Location is mandatory for asset when you create in the fixed assets application. So you can create the location, you can track the assets with a location. Based on the location, if you want to track the asset, you have to provide location information. For every asset, category is mandatory and location is mandatory. So here you may create the location structure. Location structure may be country and say state, county, city. Still, if you have to give building, also you can take in that city in specific building. And still, if you want to have one floor, also you can have other segment. This is how you can create the segments for location. So based on this structure, you will be providing the location for every asset. So category to classify the assets, location to track the asset locations. Asset key for additional tagging purpose. These two are mandatory whenever you create asset, but this is optional. Asset key is optional. Say you are buying the assets, you want to group assets, say you want to create one key called as imported assets. That's it. So whenever you create asset, you'll be taking additional key called as imported, or else old assets, new assets, or some other tags you want to create. Okay. So this is how just you can, or else you want to tag assets with a warranty or guarantee. So additional tagging. With a category, you can classify the assets. With a location, also you can track the assets. Apart from that, if with any other criteria you want to track the asset, that you can take as asset key. When you do the implementation, it is mandatory you have to create a structure for asset key flex field. But when you are going to record the transaction, it is not mandatory. So category key flex field and the location key flex field information is mandatory. With the category key flex field, always you can choose the asset is belongs to which major category and minor category. With the location, you can track the detailed location of asset, where it is located physically. And with asset key, it's not mandatory to record the transaction, but it is mandatory to complete the setup. As a part of setups, you may not use asset key flex field within the fixed assets, but you have to create, otherwise you cannot complete the setups. And another important point is, if you talk about our accounting key flex field, you can create multiple structures and instances. Yes, In fixed assets also, you can create multiple structures and instances for category, location, and asset key flex fields. But finally, we can use only one. You may create multiple structure, multiple instances, but only one instance you can use for entire fixed assets. So that is a point you have to understand. So already we discussed, as per enterprise structure, fixed assets stands at primary ledger level, not at BU level. This application is not BU specific application. This mapped at a primary ledger level. So along with the general ledger application. Okay. So these are the points we have to understand. Only one instance can be used for one environment. Whatever the environment we are using, instance we are using for category, location, and asset key. So multiple structures, multiple instances you can create, but only one you can use. It means you may implement fixed assets for one country or 100 countries. Only one category key flex will structure instance. Only one location key flex will structure instance. One asset key flex will structure instance. The one country or 100 countries should use the same information, and you cannot design the solution which would be country specific. So that's how we have fixed assets application. That's how it is designed. So we cannot have country specific this category key flex fields and all. So category, location, asset key, these all are going to be global for all countries. No option to set country specific. It should be common. Okay, it would be common setup for fixed assets implementation for all the countries. So any questions on this point, please? If no questions, we'll see how to create the value sets, structures, instances for these three key flexible related segments. Any questions here, please?
Sir, if we here there is no classification BU wise, right? This is category wise we are putting the data. So how will that be identified, right? The assets will
There
take
is no
long.
identification. From any BU, you can send the data to that fixed assets if you are using here and there same ledger.
Then how will you identify that this asset belongs to this particular BU or otherwise?
By default, there is no, you cannot set in fixed assets, you will create corporate book, right? You are aware of it or not?
Not much, sir. I've never worked in.
Okay. So in fixed assets, when you create assets will create always in the corporate book. Okay, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see like the books and all. So we'll create in the like we create on book, we'll create assets in the book only. When you are
Okay,
sending
so
any asset to fixed assets, okay, there is no mapping you can establish. Okay, there is some account specification. When you're working well, I'll talk about it. So there is no direct mapping. This BU related, okay. So only this BU related can be like you can say you have a 10 BUs. These 3 BUs data need to be transferred to so and so fixed assets corporate book. You cannot do the mapping. There is some criteria based on the criteria you can send, but it is not your BU.
But based on ledger also we can track our BU, right, Phil? Right, Lakshman?
Where?
In the set assignments, we will assign the for BU, we will assign the ledger, right? Based on that also we can track, right?
No. See, the point is like how we can specify we are going to send specific BU data to FA. That is the point. That would
Okay.
be there. What point you are telling, that is valid and that is not the question here. So if you go to that business unit set assignment page, yes, you can see your BU there. BU, which BU, which primary ledger you are assigning. Do you find fixed assets? That is a question.
Oh,
Here we are talking about mapping between the fixed assets and the BU.
okay, got it. Yeah.
That directly you cannot establish when you are working. I'll talk about that relevant point. There is no direct mapping. There is some criteria. You'll understand.
okay, and so this asset key is just like a DFF type, right? Any additional information we want to keep?
No, it's not like DFF. Here also you create the structure, you create the segments, and you'll create instance. It is not like DFF is different. Somewhere just you'll enable additional field. But here it is same like your category location,
Category and location.
or else it is same like your chart of accounts. Chart of
No, I
accounts.
mean conceptually we will do this when we require any further information, right? I mean
Yes, any
structure.
additional information. See, every
Yes.
asset will belongs to so and so book.
Right.
Right. Every asset will belongs to so and so corporate book.
Mm-hmm.
So with the corporate book, we are grouping the assets. Within the book, we are grouping the assets with the category again. Again with the major, minor. And again, you are grouping or tracking assets based on location. So apart from all this, if you
Okay.
want to tag assets for grouping, tracking, you can use asset key. It is a Oracle designed it. It is optional.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, but to complete the setups, you have to complete these three. When it comes to usage, these two are mandatory. This is completely optional. Yep.
Okay.
Usage
And in
modification
location
optional.
DFF also we can create only 7 segments, right?
Sorry. See,
In
this is
location
category.
indicated.
One second. Category 7, location 7, and asset key 10.
Okay.
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 For these
Lakshmi,
7 segments, category 7 segments you can create, location also 7 segment, but asset key they're given 10. 10 segments you can create max.
Okay. Okay.
We'll
but
see
here
when we are
also,
working, when we are into system, we will see that information. Fine.
Lakshman, here also category and location asset key, you can have multiple instances, but which are the deployed, that is the final one which we can use, right?
Deploy not. We'll have one setup to finalize one.
Okay. Done.
Create 10 category key flex field structures under 10 instances. No worries, system will allow. Now you create a 10 category instances. How many you can use in the fixed assets? It may be 1 country or 100 countries. How many you can use?
Only one.
Only one. The only one you specify by using this setup.
Okay, I'm thinking that you can deploy the instance of this.
Now, deployment we are not talking. Deployment we
Okay.
are not talking. That would be there, like creation, deployment, etc. Those all would be there. Forget about deployment. We are talking about scope of usage.
Okay, Lakshman, got it.
In the reserve FA, we have a setup called as system controls. System controls level, you can select only one category key flex field structure instance, one location, one asset key. Once you select, that is global for the entire instance. Yep. We'll come across all this. Okay, the first task is we have to create value sets for this category key flex field related segment. Say we are going to create 2 segments, one is major, other one is minor. We'll see how to create value sets. We'll see how to create value sets. So here is the task: manage fixed assets, flex field value sets. Even you, any task you can use. Just it's all about you want to create value set. You can search with the task called as manage value sets. With that also you can create. But we are just using the relevant one. Any task, manage value sets task also you can use to create the values for your fixed asset related key flex fields or GL related account chart of accounts value sets also. Okay. So this is the task: manage fixed assets flex field value sets. Click on the same task, create value sets. So when you talk about category, say we are going to create 2 segments, major and minor. For major segment, 1 value set, minor category, 1 segment. You can prefix with Alt INC. Major category. This is the value set name because this we are going to use for major category segment. Select module as assets. Validation type is independent. Value data type is character. Subtype is text. Here maximum length. Here for fixed assets point of view, we don't use the codes. We write the name only. I'm giving 30 characters. What are the major category? Maybe building is one major category. Land is another major category. Furniture is another major category. Those all I have to write in the value set. So 30 characters length I'm giving, say save and close. And when you talk about minor category, what are the minor category you create that always will have a dependency on major category. So minor category segment related value set, we are going to create as a dependent value set. Let's see. We can create, name it as alt INC minor category. For minor category segment, we are creating value set. Select module. Validation type use as a dependent. Okay, validation type use as a dependent. Value data type select as a character and subtype is text. Length here also 30. Now whatever you create within this value set, it will have a dependency on another value set, which is another independent value set that you have to specify below. Which is independent. Yes, this value set is dependent value set. This is going to depend on which value set that you have to select. It's going to depend on major. Alt INC major category. Okay. One value set is independent, another value set is dependent. When you create values, you can understand how these will start behaving in the system environment. Then say save and close. Save and close. So we created value sets for category. Now we'll go and create the structure for category key flex field. Go to manage fixed assets key flex fields task. Manage fixed assets key flex fields. And here search for category key flex field. Search. Here is the category key flex field, which is available in the fixed assets. Now click on manage structures. And if you look at how many structures are available, you can notice one thing. Within this environment, only 2 structures are available. So this is the one of the structure name which Oracle is providing as a sample data. This you don't find in the fresh instance we have to create. We are going to see how to create. But there is a one condition. At a time, only one structure can be active. One can be enabled. Now already one is enabled. If you try to create new, it won't allow. When you try to save, it will throw error message. So that is the reason when you are creating, when you are practicing, first you check any structure is active. If any structure is active, inactivate it, then it will allow you to create the new structure. So I'm selecting this, which is already enabled. Click on edit, disable it. See, now we will be able to create new structure for our understanding. Click on create and structure name is alt INC category flex field. Name description, delimiter, save it. Now within this we are going to create the 2 segments. Click on plus icon. First segment is major category. Sequence number 1. So display with 20 characters. How many segments we can create? 7. Assign relevant value set. Alt INC. Alt INC, major category. Here we have a labels. Okay, major category we have to assign major category labels to track the depreciation. Say save and close. One more segment is minor category. Prompt. Assign minor category value set to minor category segment. So select label as a minor category, save and close. Save and close. Click on done and deploy it. Before that, create instance also. Create manage structure instances. So here you may have active instances, no issues. You can have multiple active instances, but only one you can use. Click on plus icon, create instance. Alt INC, category, flex. Just for our identification purpose, I'm giving name as a flex, for instance, so that we'll be able to differentiate. Otherwise, write it as a flex field. Structure name, Alt INC, category flex field. Two segments we have, the same set as a required. Save and close. Done. Now deploy. Won't take much time. Done. So deploy. So we created a value sets for category key flex field, and we created structure, and we created instance. The same we have to repeat for location asset key, to create value sets, to create structures, to create the instances. So whatever the instance we create, once we are ready with the three instances, in the system controls, we have to select those three instances. Anyway, we'll follow that process just for information. Go to system controls.
Lakshman, do
Here you
we
have to
have any
follow.
rapid implementation for this thing?
Sorry?
Do we have any rapid implementation template kind of
Yeah,
thing for
we
us?
have a few templates for this. Okay. Few templates. You can use templates also. You can search with rapid and you can just go through the templates.
Okay.
Here we can see the instances. Okay. In this environment, Oracle already has a part of sample data they added. See, this is the instance name, category key flex field related instance. This is the location key flex field related instance. This is asset key. Now, whatever we created, can we add here? We created one instance, right? Can we add that instance here?
No.
There is
Not
no
possible.
option here.
This
Free
is one time
instance.
setup. This is one time. If instance is fresh instance, then only you can create your own and you can assign. So this is one time. Okay, but still, why we created? We should know, right, how to create the structure and instance for a category, so that when you are working for client instance, we'll be able to do this setup. That is the purpose we did. Otherwise, now we no need to do that. Only these you can use. But still, we'll create for location and asset key for our understanding, so that we'll aware how to create the structures and instances for these three key flex fields within the fixed assets. Okay. So that's how it is. Okay. So the tomorrow session will just focus on the remaining setups. The tomorrow session will be able to complete the remaining all setups. It won't take much time. So pretty straightforward setups. So we'll complete in the tomorrow session all setups. So if time permits, we'll create we'll see how to create asset also. Otherwise, that we'll see in later sessions. Yeah. So we're done for today. If you have any questions, please stay back. We'll discuss.